All right, Mike here with the Amish and Mennonite of Tennessee page, and I've got a new course available. It's called the Plainest Tennessee Road Trip. I know. Of course, let's break it down. The plainest, of course, the Amish and Mennonite are known as the plain people. Tennessee means, of course, the state road trip. So this is going to be a course about taking a road trip to see the Amish and Mennonite of Tennessee. However, I go up into Kentucky and Alabama, so just think of it like as an area, I guess, per se. And you don't even necessarily have to take the course specifically for the Amish and Mennonite. This is all about having to take, or at least learning to take, a road trip effectively. All right. Now, a lot of you guys travel by car. We also discussed what's called an open jaw airplane flight. Okay, what that means is, or multi-city, is, for example, you would fly into Nashville, rent a car, and then drive, say, for example, through Columbia, through Etheridge, down into the Shoals, and then go see the Rockets at Rocket City, in Huntsville, and then fly out of Huntsville, leaving your rental car there, because they know somebody's going to fly into Huntsville, see the Space and Rocket Center or thereabouts, and then start going back up towards Nashville, where they will fly out of Nashville. So that's what that really means. There's only one lesson that kind of consists of this. The rest of it's going to be selecting your team, giving everybody a role, all that sort of thing, so everybody kind of feels like they've accomplished something towards the trip, not just along for the ride per se. I think a lot of us have done that. I know in my history that my parents would usually take a vacation to see family. And of course, the family had to host you. So you were staying at their house, and of course, their house, their rules. And it was up to the host family to kind of find something for you to do. So a lot of times they'd work because they didn't get to take off or something. And sometimes you liked it, sometimes you didn't. The rest of the times, this is back in the 80s and 90s, where they'd sit around smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee and just talking about things, which was boring to a kid, obviously. And the rest of us kind of had to kind of filter in where we could, and then we would do something kind of fun and then drive back home. And my dad was one of those, we go from here to there. We don't stop, and we would drive at night while we were asleep a lot of times. So that would prevent any kind of stopping between then. As I got bigger, what happens? You get with friends, the friends are poor. You'd like to go see a concert or something. You figured out that $100 motel room could be $25 if you took three of your friends. So you took the three that you kind of liked and had the money. So you're kind of along for the ride. You didn't really get to do something conducive to the whole group. You kind of had to go for a concert or to go to a place, and that was kind of it. You didn't stay very long. So whenever I got big enough to where I started taking my own vacations, I said, I'm going to do things different. And I did. I failed a bunch, don't get me wrong, because I made some miscalculations. But since I was in my 20s, I'm 47 now, at the time of recording anyway, I have kind of perfected my list. And of course, in 2010, I became a tourism professional. And that's when I really learned a lot about the industry and best practices, what everybody else is doing, and we had tools to monitor all this sort of thing. So what I did was make this into a course, a road trip course. Go ahead, get on Google, try to find another road trip course. I couldn't find one. Of course, after this, they're going to steal from me. They're going to put it into some kind of large language model or an AI system and spit out another course, even though they know that I made it out of my head. Okay, I didn't do any of this. I had to bowl blind. There is no other course. Whenever I did go on Google, I found a bunch of blog posts, and I found a bunch of social media tips and tricks. Some of it was cross country, primarily for campers and RV personnel, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. It's just that most of the time people take a road trip and to see a lot of places along a stretch that isn't a day or two between a lot of times, unless you want the time element. Obviously, we go through into time management really heavy. We go into budgeting. We go into a lot of different things in this course. So I'm going to also mention the Amish and Mennonite people along the way, presupposing that you've got other points of interest that you're going to be interested in. Now, A lot of people are going to say, yeah, but you're just doing this for the money. It's not really for the money. Actually, I'm going to try to tell you about something that is going to cost me money or prevent me from getting future sales. That, say, for example, there was a person here, and beside me. So that's four of us total. And say, presupposing that you're going as a group, whenever you do buy this course, and those four of you are going to go, have the other three over to your house, okay? That way they get to watch me do the lessons, okay? Because each one of these people are going to have a different job duty. Some people are really good at packing and making those suitcases fit in different variations in certain size trunks, and that's going to be their job to make sure everything gets back on the bus. Some people are really good at navigating. They're going to get on Waze. They're going to get on Google Maps. They're going to go make a Google My Maps. They're going to use some of our road trip tools. If this isn't familiar with you, I am going to go through some road trip tools and some things that I don't know if everybody gets to use, like road trippers and Campendium. Even though you might not be an RV enthusiast, you might still be able to really, really get a hold of that community of people that are just excellent at showing you different places, different points of interest, some geolocations for a neat overview or something, or an overlook, I should say. And they're going to be really good at that, okay? Better than the other three of you. And of course, there might be somebody that just loves to drive. You know what I'm saying? So a driver might be somebody that everybody's wanting to be, negate. I don't like driving a whole lot either, but anyway, so they could be a really good, cautious, careful driver. Now, of course, there's also a driver of the four, team, basically. Some people might have a really good organizational skill that they can just put everybody else's interest in front of their own, so they're a good person to kind of control the whole group and manage everything else. And also, we're going to talk about what happens when you get a flat, when you go out to get in your car and there's nothing but glass and there's nothing else there, so it's a stolen car. What to happen in security, how to secure your belongings and your persons. We're going to talk about road trip games. Yes, I said road trip games. I Spy, Finish the Line, Rainbow Car, all that sort of thing. We got a big book of kids, jokes, all that sort of thing. And I also have a whole bunch of things you can print off in this course. Now, if you're used to our other course, the Complete Guide to Visiting the Amish of Etheridge, it's the same ones, okay? But there are road trip planners. There is a lot of itinerary guides, you know what I mean? And there's road trip bingo. So you can kind of keep things going. License plate game, that's really interesting. Scavenger hunts. I made some suburb, city, and Amish additions to these, actually. So you can go through and have different, there's Rainbow Car, different things. Now, if you've got kids and they have a scavenger hunt, pretty much between, we'll say two or three, up to about 12. That's usually where you can get coloring books, up to scavenger hunts where it's fun, because it's age specific, right? I mean, you don't want an 18-year-old doing a coloring book meant for a 2-year-old. They're probably not going to have that good a time with it. So for the younger kids, if they did all their scavenger hunts, they colored all their pictures, give them like tasks to do. They also have a clipboard full of snacks and stuff like that, so you can do, you know what I mean? Let them feel like they're an accomplishment, you know what I mean? That they're running the clipboard, makes them feel like their boss, you know what I mean? And all that sort of thing. Kids love that kind of stuff. And I have a travel checklist. You can let them put a little square or a little check mark beside some of the things in here. I think as adults, we know we even forget a lot of stuff. And if they do all their stuff right when they get back, I put it in a certificate of completion. That way you can just write in their names and they could smile real big, and you can put it on the refrigerator. You can send all that on social media, all that sort of thing. It gives them a sense of accomplishment. I worked hard towards a goal, and I got a certificate for, participating in the family road trip. And I think that's pretty neat. Now, if you want to use this for educational purposes, I'm glad you asked, even though I didn't hear a voice. Okay. From about 12 to 18, I have guides on budgeting, time management, vehicle maintenance, things like this, so that you can presuppose that most teenagers believe they're going to get a car, or at least understand how to operate one. So we're going to go through some of that stuff. We're going to go through like I mentioned, how to figure out if your car gets like 30 miles to the gallon. And we're going to do like 812 miles round trip because we went on a Google My Maps. We picked out our hotels and our stops. So we're going to add all of these places together. We're going to kind of add a few, tenths or a few miles extra because we're going to be sitting in traffic. I'm also going to tackle traffic, okay, and trying to get around some of this stuff. And we're going to talk about the total miles so that we can kind of figure out loosely how much money we need for gas, how much our hotel stays or bed and breakfast or lodge stays, how much that's going to be, how much we presuppose we're going to spend on food based on these things. Now, if you eat at McDonald's, it's going to be one cost. If you eat, somewhere in that echelon of restaurant, or if you're going to eat fast casual, this is where Buffalo Wild Wings, this is where Olive Garden, maybe something like Cracker Barrel kind of fits that up, or that mid echelon of restaurants that you see commonly on the road. Now, if you get to a place that's pretty interesting and they have a high-end restaurant, well, naturally it's going to be quite expensive because usually high-end restaurants come with a high-end cost. So if your idea is to, I only want to set a certain amount of money for food so that I can eat at this better place, then, well, we'll move some of these other tiers down to the McDonald's level, and so that we can have the budgetary amounts for this better restaurant. We're going to talk about the details. So you're going to look at that restaurant that is an unknown to you. We're going to look through the menu. Anybody that's got some food requirements, we're also going to click on some videos. We're going to find out as much as we can about that place so that you don't get there and it's like the most loudest, almost like a rave bar that happens to serve a good food item that you like. That might not be your cup of tea if you want a quiet, easy meal, with a relaxing, romantic environment. And you get there and it's flashy lights and the stuff that makes you want to barf. I'm just saying, we're going to try to talk about those issues so that you don't get anything, you know what I'm saying, put out there. I think it's called visualizing each day. Okay, so that lesson goes through that section because, like I said, this is all about road trips. You could do this once you learn how to do this and get a good template as a family or something. You're going to go try it out. You can make yourself notes on what you would change next time and then start taking from what I'm saying and what you've lived and sort of making yourself the perfect template. So think about it as investing in yourself, okay? And I'm going to go through a lot of things a lot of people don't talk about. Like if you go to the certain Mennonite communities and certain Amish too, and you look like you're dressed for the pool, they won't serve you. They will turn around and walk off. Now, I've had some of the Mennonite people, even the men, tell women that look pretty nice, you got to go. You got to leave. I mean, they'll get a little bit unruly because you came with too much skin exposed. It offends them. All right, so a lot of people don't know that. They also don't work on Sundays. They probably don't know who George Washington is. They're educated in a school system that is private to them. English is their third language, for the Amish, especially the Swartzen Trooper. So I'm going to talk about, like in here, if you've seen my complete guide visiting the Amish of Etheridge course, I talk about linen clothes because it's real breathable. The wind goes right through this stuff. I mean, it's just like you're not wearing a shirt sometimes. So it blows right through it. And it's easy to clean on the road. You have to use cold water, but I show you some of that stuff in the how to pack videos and stuff like that. So it is one-time fee, okay? This isn't a subscription, nothing like that. You pay one time for this particular course, and you're in for good. And now we'll be updating it as it goes. You're going to get free updates. I also talk about why I do charge $100 for it at the moment, simply because I'm going to have an affiliate program put on top of this. So I'm eating the cost of my fellow Amish and Mennonite people that are in this space, okay? They're going to want to be an affiliate so that they can make 10% profit just for the total price of the sale. We live in Tennessee. You don't have to tax online digital products, stuff that's not like this pen would naturally get taxed because it's a physical thing. There's only one of these like this, and they mass produce them. But online, it don't have to come from anything. It just has to get you onto an authentication login and password so that you get into the course to just take it as an educational feature. Now keep in mind too, you're going to get a certificate at the end of all this. This page here just below this video is going to have a link to a page, our web page, that shows you everything that's in it. I would hope that you would go click on this and say, hey, is this course for me? If you're like, hey, look, I don't like going anywhere, I don't even like people, fine. Would you please share this video with somebody else that might? Do you have some friends and some family that you go to church with, or you bowl with, or you have some kind of community fellowship with? Maybe some people that are online friends that you might think would be, really good for them to do, because they're always taking trips. And sometimes, I know we took a lot of trips, and the number of trips doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. A lot of times it just means you're copying and pasting from the previous trip in hopes that you get something better. Sometimes you need somebody else to step in and be kind of your tour guide, or like a travel agent. Now, if you did take a travel agent, he's going to charge you, or she's going to charge you money. Okay, so they're going to say, look, I got the place, I got the thing. We're going to go this time of year. I got it all planned out for you. You don't have to do nothing except pay me and show up. Okay, and that's going to be a set fee. It's usually kind of expensive because they did all the heavy lifting for you. Think of me like that, okay? I'm showing you for over 20-something hours how to take a very detailed road trip template and apply it to wherever you go, all right? So you're going to pay me for that education. Now, the reason it's only $100 is because I'd rather 5 people take a $100 course than one person to buy a $500 course. And it's because I would like more people to take more road trips through their rest of their lives, because it definitely means you have the freedom to explore the open road and to get out there and see things you could have never seen on your own. And sometimes you want to take a road trip to get away from things. A lot of people from Nashville and Huntsville come here because it's usually kind of cheap in Etheridge, Tennessee, to kind of stay in our hotels and hardly see another person. If you go to some of the area lakes and streams, we got some really good hiking areas, all that sort of thing. So there's not near as many people, and they love it, especially our bed and breakfasts, or our lodge type environments, because you can sit underneath the beautiful sky at night, and just make s'mores and see the stars. There's no light pollution. There's no honking of horns and smell of stench. It's just a really good country environment. You know what I mean? And they miss that. They sit 6 foot behind another car for a living, and so to get out there where there's nothing hardly, they love it. So it might be that you need a break. But either way, coming here or going out into the world and seeing things with a road trip, that may be perfect for you. So be sure to click on the link below in this particular post or video, and that's going to show you the web page that this is on. Now, the web page is basically another video. It's a lot longer. I think it's over an hour, where I show you every single thing that is in the course, because I want you to know for a fact is a good fit for you, and that it answers some of those emotional questions that you have that might make you nervous or have anxiety about taking a trip, all that sort of thing. And if your friends are willing to come along, your family members are willing to come along with you, you can take a trip and you can find out how much it costs, and you can start saving if it's going to be a very expensive one, or you can shorten it and eat, and sleep in very affordable places and make it for almost nothing. Now, if you stay in your car, obviously that's going to be even cheaper. So there is very cheap ways of doing it and very luxury ways. But I talk about each one of those and how to put that into your itinerary plans and all that sort of thing. So I would love for you to entertain the possibility of getting this particular course. I only make money through course sales. I moved everything from advertising over to education. So this is how I make my money. So supporting me this way is how I would prefer you to support me. So if I've ever helped you in the past, please consider buying this course either for yourself or maybe for a family member who doesn't have the funds, or maybe as a surprise or something like that. You go with the email and login credentials that is set during the payment. Share that with them. They get a profile link that they can change it to whatever they want to later. all that sort of thing. So that would be a good gift for them in the future. Anyway, this has been Mike, and I hope to see you in another video, or hopefully in the course later on. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.